So we are about to watch Shrek. Has anyone here not seen Shrek?
Who's Shrek? What is a Shrek?
Shrek is a green ogre with a Scottish accent.
Oh, so you got... No, I'm kidding.
I know you've seen Shrek, Nick. When's the
I've
last
seen
time?
Shrek quite a few times.
Well, Teddy, here's the better question. Who hasn't seen Shrek?
Exactly.
Like, dude, he's sexy.
Was Shrek the first animated movie that just became a meme, or did other movies do that before then?
Mickey Mouse. I don't know.
Honestly, it probably was. I mean, actually,
New Groove has a
Beauty
lot of
and the
memes.
Beast has the whole Gaston meme.
But that's because Gaston is just different.
Gaston was a meme. When did that?
You know the thing where he's in the really awkward position with his face all derpy, and it's like Disney World.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Well, that's a thing that exists. It's dumb. And also, Kevin, with what you said about calling Shrek sexy, thanks for the flashback of me watching some people's reaction to it.
Oh yeah, anytime, man.
Have you watched a sensual Shrek nude?
No, it's just it's like these two people reacting to it, and they'd already seen the movie a lot, and they were making kind of dumb jokes. And when Shrek asks, like, "Who am I?" to Donkey, they say a dilf.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, Kevin, this is your first.
That makes it sound so bad, Teddy. Please don't put it.
Okay, sorry. It's your first time in nerd science theater movies. Hello, Samachi.
Wait, who's that?
I think that's Samachi, Kevin.
Oh God, it's Kevin.
Who's Samachi? Hold up. Do we know this guy?
Kevin, I swear to God, you're not doing this to me right now.
Who is this guy again?
I swear to God, I've known you for 3 years. I'm not doing this with you.
Wait. Who are you guys? Who are you people again?
How am I gonna do this? I know your father. Come on. I will expose you right now.
Who doesn't?
All right, we're gonna start with Tor, and we're gonna work up from there. Yes, what I thought.
No.
What I thought.
No. Teddy, I'm hiring you for $50 million to put it to my...
I mean, I do have one question. Are we allowed to say anything besides jokes?
You can say other stuff.
I mean, I wasn't joking, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I totally was joking. Yeah, 100%.
I swear to God, we're not doing this today.
Honestly, you can say anything. Also, I'll reveal my face for this moment in case anyone wanted to see it. Hello.
So we can talk about the Republic of DN. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and if you say anything controversial, I can just edit it out.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. Like, I mean, it's not like I'd be just like a stuck-up critic about the whole thing. So I wouldn't do that. But that would just make the experience miserable for everyone.
So is everyone ready?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here in my secret lair under the house.
Under the house.
Yeah, I don't know where he is because his camera is off, but I assume he's at his house.
No, he's at my house. He's living in my basement.
That's my joke. You can't do that.
Yeah,
Stolen, baby. Suck it.
You can't steal anything with your trash Wi-Fi.
All right, before we begin, I'd like to say it says 2 hours, but this movie's actually an hour and a half.
Why the hell does it say 2 hours?
I don't know. This reminds me of when Jigsaw, the movie, was categorized as a comedy on Hulu for some reason. Enough delaying. Let's actually begin and watch the greatest movie about a green person ever made. Is this the DreamWorks theme or the Shrek theme? I mean, I know the Shrek theme is all stuff, but...
Well, honestly, this is... I feel like the DreamWorks theme came from Shrek, really.
Oh. Yeah! Why does this outhouse have a moon on it?
I don't know.
I always thought that animation of like liquid always looked off. Like, doesn't the mud look weird when it's on Shrek?
I actually think the animation aged relatively well, but some of it is a bit dull.
And all of these people are just like, these were the most famous people of the 2000s and late 90s.
Shrek is leading people right to his house.
Yeah, he enjoys scaring them off.
Oh, exactly.
Maybe they already know he lives there and he's just putting up signs.
Where does he get the eyes?
Animals.
I don't know. They look kind of human to me.
I kind of want to spin off where Shrek literally just feeds the humans.
Actually, I think in this scene later, he says that he doesn't eat humans whole. He usually like kills them first and then gets them into jelly.
But that doesn't play to the typical ogre kind of stereotype. You know, this man's gonna have blood dripping out of his mouth. If he survive.
I think Shrek might be the only fictional ogre I'm aware of. Oh wait, there's the ogres from Ella Enchanted.
Because I think we all know the history behind this movie by now.
Yeah, with the whole Jeffrey Katzenberg, he hates Michael Eisner or something.
Yeah, it is a little mean.
Right. Though I feel like I might have mentioned this to you before, but this is something I find weird. The Birdman once claimed that Shrek wasn't making fun of Disney at all, and that it's only making fun of fairy tales.
5 shillings for the possessed toy.
I know we're making fun of Disney here, but we're seriously going to believe Geppetto sells Pinocchio for 5 shillings?
Disney? What does this have to do with Disney? Oh, I get it. You're one of those people that believe the movies Disney produces are all original stories by them and not pilfered from older books and fairy tales. Let me learn you something. Almost all of Disney's stories are stolen, especially Pinocchio.
That's the place.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
So this is obviously Disneyland, and Farquaad is obviously some representation of Michael Eisner, in a movie made by a studio headed by Jeffrey Katzenberg. Shrek is like an ex-girlfriend, bitching about how lame and stupid her ex-boyfriend was, but secretly wants to get back with him.
Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Well, I don't know. There are certain bits like, I don't know, like Pinocchio isn't the first thing you'd think of, right?
No, but Cinderella is one, and they mentioned her later.
Yeah, I know.
Shrek wasn't the first animated movie to have like a comic relief character. Not even the first one to have an Eddie Murphy comic relief character.
Well, I mean, the first thing I think of is Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin. Oh yeah, Aladdin is the one that sort of started it, but I guess Shrek really popularized it. By the way, if you're wondering why Shrek is Scottish, the reason is that Mike Myers' mother used to tell him stories in a Scottish accent when he was younger.
Need some Tic Tacs or something, because your breath stinks.
Tic Tacs? This donkey's smart, bro.
I've heard some people question how they know about like modern culture stuff, like Tic Tacs and Shirley Bassett. I think that's in the sequel. But
Is this a real song?
I think so. I think Donkey being annoying works better in this movie because you get Shrek just yelling at him every time he starts to get sick of him.
Can I just say that Donkey isn't an idiot? But he's a lot smarter than people give him credit for.
We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
Do you remember the era when every time you mentioned waffles, everyone would quote that?
Well, I'm not sure that era ended.
I'm realizing what is that on the chair?
I don't know, alligator skin or something.
Maybe. I wouldn't really be comfortable. Though again, I guess Shrek kind of prides in the gross, so maybe he likes uncomfortable beds or chairs.
You know, to be fair, this is also very much a fairy tales version with, haha, the main character is this gross, brutish monster. Like,
Yeah.
basically, anyway.
Yeah, though I don't really think it's supposed to be funny. I think it's more just characterizing him as being a disgusting human. I was about to say human being, but he's an ogre, so disgusting creature.
And he's not even, well, I won't get into that now, but he's not like as big an asshole as he seems to be right now.
Yeah, it's more one of those situations where everyone's an to him, so it's like, I guess I'll also be an to them.
No, dead broad off the table.
I do like how Shrek casually says dead broad off the table.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Ah, he said the thing. Haha, comedy.
Prepare the remixes.
But I probably shouldn't mention the little thing that happens at night.
I'll do it.
Yes, but after sunset.
Silence.
Really? You couldn't have said that earlier.
Princess Fiona, my
I
queen.
guess he forgot.
You luck. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Oh, it's the windmill they're going to be at later. Have you seen any Shrek knockoffs?
I haven't seen Hoodwinked or Happily Never After. Does Chicken Little count?
Not really.
Because that movie's effing terrible.
The only Shrek ripoffs I've seen are the Hoodwinked movies and Ella Enchanted. And I know Ella Enchanted is based on a book, but considering from what I've heard, it's barely anything like the book. I think they just wanted it to be like, this is similar to Shrek. I always found it interesting that Donkey had dragon children with the big dragon.
How does that work? Why is there a giant cookbook?
Assuming for the dragon to use.
But there's already like the dead meat people.
I mean, maybe she wants to like articulate how to do it. And also keep in mind, the dragons aren't the only giant creatures in the world of this film, so another giant creature probably wrote that. No, I don't think I've seen any of the sequels all the way through in a while. Yeah, Shrek 2 is the only sequel I've never seen in one sitting. Saw every other Shrek movie in one sitting at some point in my life. 2 of them in theaters.
That's funny because Shrek 2 is the only other one that's good.
I mean, I didn't really think Puss in Boots was that bad.
Well, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it in a while. Just Selma Hayek and Zach Galifianakis are in it. Not realizing she's wearing a green suit. Shrek is green.
How will you kiss me?
What? That wasn't in the job description.
I quote that line every day because
Why?
I mean, I always find an opportunity. Like if someone's like, Teddy, bring this thing over here. Here, all right. You had to bring this other thing too. I would just go like, that wasn't in the job description.
Oh, you were expecting Prince Charming.
Actually, yes. Quite literally, according to Shrek 2.
Yeah, okay, so I forgot the whole thing in Shrek 2. I know the whole story with Shrek 2 is that remember the scene where it said that Princess Fiona was an eligible bachelor, and I guess Prince Charming was hired by Fiona's parents, which includes Julie Andrews, to find Fiona, and they're not aware of the ogre curse.
No, the parents know about the ogre curse. It was the king made a deal with fairy godmother that Prince Charming would rescue Fiona.
Right. And how come he couldn't figure out where she was? Or he did, but he just took too long.
Yeah.
He just put it off too long.
Yeah, he's an
There's a
idiot.
scene in Shrek 2 where he just goes there and nobody's there.
Well, he does, just the wolf.
Oh, I always think that's funny. Just he goes there and it's like, where is everyone? Where is Princess Fiona? What's going on? Don't they also say that she was in that tower since she was a kid in Shrek 2?
Maybe, I don't really remember.
I'm sorry, is he preparing to...
No, he just he was just checking on his.
Okay, is that the DreamWorks theme or is that from the Shrek theme?
This is probably where the theme came from. Also, this scene is blatant Disney parody.
Yeah, I can tell that. I love how its legs are just still perched there. In the opening of Captain Underpants, don't George and Harold like sing the DreamWorks theme?
Yeah.
It reminds me of how in
Donkey's having a wet dream.
This reminds me of, you know how in the opening of Sing, like the Disney logo is just the off-key music from the class. Not the opening of Sing, the opening of Soul.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of reminds me of that when like the characters sing the theme that's in the opening logo. I think there's a movie out there where like the characters in the movie just come across the Columbia Pictures logo.
I never understood this.
What do you mean?
Like, how is she able to do all of that?
Well, she taught herself that while she was in the tower. I'm not realizing that guy was playing the DreamWorks theme as well. I don't think Shrek wasn't the first movie to do a Matrix joke. But when was the era where people started to get sick of them?
I don't know, I never pay attention to that.
You should have put your foot on his butt, then pull it out. That's the classic way you pull something out. How many pop songs from this era are in this movie? Thing Shrek just did that looks like a move that would be in a video in like a Lego game when you're trying to progress.
I believe there are 6 pop songs in this movie.
Well, those animals probably died.
Not in my head.
Was Shrek 4 any good?
It was okay. Shrek the Third is pretty bad.
What are your thoughts on the upcoming Shrek reboot?
I don't want it. I just don't want it.
Well, I'm not wondering, like, what do they mean by reboot? Because the cast members from the original are returning. But I looked up stuff about the Shrek reboot. It says there are rumors of it being live action. And Eddie Murphy is confirmed to return as Donkey.
Oh my god, CG Donkey in live action.
Yeah, the live action thing is just a rumor. I don't know if that's actually true.
And where you are, I ain't gonna lie, you are ugly.
Can I just say that she's not really?
Oh, I guess people are like, oh, green and weird looking ears and a weirder nose.
In fact,
oh god.
I'm being honest, Shrek isn't really that ugly either.
By the way, I know you never focus on like the fashion of anyone, but I'm now realizing Fiona's eyelashes are like the style of a 1920s model. I always think it's weird when animated characters don't have necks and they just have like their head is just attached to their body. I know the bit in Gravity Falls where Gideon says he has a lump under his head. Like, I think that's the only time where they acknowledge how it's weird that the characters don't have necks.
Wrapped around my... Well, I wouldn't call it a neck exactly. Wrapped around this little pocket of fat under my head.
I feel like if I was able, it's like, Teddy, we have a gun to your head. Cast live action Gravity Falls. First thing I'd say is Walton Goggins as Bud Brutal. I feel like Farquaad is kind of an underrated villain.
He's not really intimidating or anything. He's just kind of an asshole.
John Lithgow is just so like such a funny, like embracing just how much of a bag this guy is. Oh, that's a pretty good shot transition. I do appreciate that Donkey isn't completely useless in this movie.
He's the opposite of useless in this movie.
Yeah, like he does help Shrek. Why is there a moon on his door? I just looked down at that landscape below. I was comparing it to How to Train Your Dragon in my head, and it doesn't look impressive at all.
Nothing's gonna look that impressive compared to How to Train Your Dragon in 2001.
I haven't seen the sequels in a while. Does Donkey ever like get worse, or
he doesn't become a bad character, but this is him at his best.
I think the best bit in the whole series will always be when you're getting his going. Apparently, that was supposed to be a reference to Jurassic Park.
It makes sense. So when the lawyer gets eaten on the toilet.
So Prince Charming isn't killed in Shrek 2. He's just sort of defeated.
Well, he dies in Shrek 3rd.
I forgot what happens to him in Shrek the 3rd.
A giant prop falls on him. It's pretty pathetic.
Does Rumpelstiltskin die in the 4th movie?
Surprisingly, no. He's the only Shrek villain who doesn't die, and yet he probably deserves it more than anyone else. Is that supposed to look like he's playing a guitar?
What, the guy in the background?
No, like...
Oh, yeah! Well, actually, now that you mention it, it vaguely looks like he's just playing on nothing. Wait a minute! The carrot's shaped like an onion!
You just noticed that?
Yeah.
You only just noticed that?
Yeah.
It's like in Cinderella, except instead of a pumpkin, it's an onion.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Alright.
That was Shrek.
Shrek still hold up?
Yeah, I'd say it does.
Alright, has anything changed about the movie on this other viewing?
No, not really. Since having rewatched it like just now, my opinion is basically the same as it has been for the past few months. which is a very positive opinion. Although I can't help but kind of blame this movie for all of the trends it spawned on the animation landscape.
Yeah, like it's font, like it's like more movies had pop culture reference. Every single animated movie after this had a comic relief sidekick.
I don't mind that, but the things like pop culture references, celebrity actors,
The celebrity actors, I don't mind. I mean, there are times where it starts to get really. I mean, there are times, like even in this very movie, like Cameron Diaz, Mike Myers, and Eddie Murphy, like not all three of those, they're not famous anymore, are they?
Eddie Murphy kind of still is.
I mean, well, no, he did the thing that almost no actors know they can do. He retired and just spent time with his family for a couple years until he decided to be in a sequel to Coming to America.
Yeah, but remember this movie came out like right after the Disney Renaissance, and
during the era where there were almost no good Disney movies.
Well, it was at the I
mean, there were a couple like Emperor's New Groove and I think Pirates of the Caribbean came out 2 years later.
But the thing is, DreamWorks was kind of thinking of, okay, after this, are we going to make any more hand-drawn musicals or whatever, or are we just going to keep making more of this? And they chose the latter. And that really, that did not work because they got movies like Shark Tale. And DreamWorks got kind of named as the studio that did things like that. And we got all sorts of other CGI studios like Blue Sky and Sony and frickin' Illumination, which I'm still mad at. And Disney turned to CGI. They got Chicken Little was their first fully CG movie, and it's the worst also. Granted, Pixar was the only studio that was really doing well for a while. And then even they have proven they're not made of clay.
I don't really think that's a good metaphor, but I know what you mean.
Like their feet aren't made of clay,
Right.
I'm bad at this, okay?
Right. I think another thing with Shrek, like it also inspired. This sort of started an era of a bunch of Shrek ripoffs, like the Hoodwinked movies, which there is a sequel to. Have you seen the Hoodwinked movies?
No, but from what I have seen, the animation, especially in the first movie, is god awful. I've heard some people actually really like the first one. I don't really think I would.
Yeah,
and I hear the second one is really, really bad.
The second one is worse. I'll say that right now. Yeah, when did the second one come out? It came out like 6 years later.
It came out in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it did. Because for some reason, I know like every Western animated movie that came out in the past decade.
Yeah, also the lesser of the Belushis is in that movie, Jim Belushi. Like other Shrek ripoffs were like Ella Enchanted and Dougal.
I've heard of those. Dougal was one of those. That's regarded as one of the worst animated movies ever made.
Yeah, I know they slapped Butch Hartman's name on it because they were like, guys, Butch Hartman was involved, but I think he came out and said like, I barely had any involvement in this movie. They literally just slapped my name on there so that they had a name to go off of. Because no kid would be like, oh, I want to see this movie because William H. Macy is in it.
But I haven't really watched a movie that's been like a straight up Shrek ripoff. Like unless you want to count Chicken Little, and I'm not sure it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that. Yeah. So yeah, that was Shrek. It still holds up. Still a great movie.